Black who's going to go for it. Black for the 1 point to win the grand final for Halifax, and he's done it. Ben Black strikes.
Hello and welcome to a rather special episode of Talking About to the Life with me, Mike Haig. Sponsored by Eclipse Energy, wonderful Eclipse Energy. Joining me as always is Mr. Rick Farrell. How are you doing? And as you might be able to see, we've got a very, very special guest. We have got possibly up and coming record holder, that's joint record holder in one respect, Stephen Tyrer. Baby, thank you very much for coming on.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having me.
Been a long time coming, but it's very, very well received, and we've got lots and lots of questions from fans that have come in. So yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into it. First and foremost, you can tell by the length of your hair, you're in quarantine.
Yeah.
And length of the beard. How's it going? What's it like for a rugby league player in quarantine?
Well, like you say, I can't get a haircut, can't get a shave, can't get my teeth fixed. The motivation to keep exercising every day is it comes and goes. Like some weeks you want to smash it, some weeks you kind of I don't really want to do this. So it's been tough. It has been tough, but
yeah,
you know, I think I'm coping all right.
What sort of stuff have you been setting you, Steve?
What's that? Sorry.
What sort of training has he been setting you? What sort of stuff?
Well, soon as the lockdown started, Andy Ollie had sent over an email full of sessions, plenty of sessions for us to be getting on with. A lot of running and stuff, like a lot of stuff that you can do in your garden. So he's looked after us in that sense, but that's also the stuff that we do at training as well. So I think a lot of lads have gone and done their own thing a little bit. Like I bought a mountain bike, so that's been big for me because I can't do the running all the time. It drives me mad. So I just go on my bike for a couple of hours.
Yeah. If people follow you on social media and that, you can see the stuff that you're doing. You put your Strava map on that. Is that just kind of to prove to Angela and Grixie that you're doing it, being a good student?
Well, I don't know if Grixie's still on social media, but it's going on there just in case he is still on there and he has a little lock. Because obviously,
just in case Big Brother's watching.
Exactly, yeah. None of us want to go in underdone whenever that time comes. Obviously, no one knows when that is, but it's like I say, it has been tough, and there's times where I get up at 6 o'clock every morning, no matter what. I'm having no lie-ins. I get up and I'm straight on my bike. But like I say, there is days where you've just got no motivation, and I'm sure that's the same for everybody.
No, you're absolutely right. I kind of was going to come to this at the end, but it's a free and easy podcast. Is this? Let's do it at the beginning. How would you kind of want to finish the season? How would you, in an ideal world, want to kind of come back to it? Because it's asking a lot for like say yourselves and the players to go straight back into a game, that situation. What would your ideal situation be?
I do think that from a physical point of view, we need to do a couple of weeks training at least 2 weeks, because when the off season finishes and you've had 6 weeks off, I have 6 weeks. I do nothing. I shut down, and you come back in, and the first few weeks are the most painful few weeks of all of it. This will be a little bit different because obviously everybody's keeping fit, but you're still going to have them aches and pains. You're still going to have them tough contact sessions to get you back into it. So there's no way physically possible that you can go straight into it. There has to be a week or 2 weeks preparation. But on the flip side of that, what's that, sorry?
What do you think about the task of maybe playing friendlies? Do you think you'd need a friendly before you got into the game?
I think you probably would, but that's not going to happen, obviously. I think the best case scenario would be the first game is kind of like, from Grixie's point of view, maybe a free pass a little bit, because there's going to be rustiness. It's going to be tough. You're going to be not fully match fit. But having said that, it's all guesswork. No one actually knows still what's going to happen. But from a player's point of view, I think the way that everything's happened if we go straight back in, I just think there'd be a hell of a lot of muscle injuries and things like that, and I don't think that's good for anyone. And then your player pool will just quickly run out.
No, but very, very true. What are your thoughts about the prospect of playing behind closed doors?
It's not ideal. People might joke, "Oh, the Championship don't get big crowds anyway," but they might not get massive crowds. But these supporters make noise, and they make a lot of noise. That not being there, I don't want to say you won't be able to motivate yourself, but when a crowd's behind you, it makes a big difference to a game. So it'll be strange, but if that's what's thrown at us, then we've just got to get on with it.
You've got to be selfish, aren't you? You're itching to get back.
Yeah,
and you'd rather play behind closed doors than wait even longer.
Yeah, 100%. It's the same. They talk about football now, and there's no football without fans, and all sports the same. Rugby league's the same. But I just think the thought of this season not happening would just be catastrophic. So I think they've just got to work out a way of getting it done safely. But we do need to find a way of making money as well.
Is that just completely off the table then, cancelling the season? Just you want to get back to it. If it's a shortened season, would you be prepared to play through the winter? Oh, it's been a long time since I've done that.
I would rather play through the winter if it makes it a bit longer than having to play, say, 3 games a week that we've seen tipped up. Because as a part-time player, 3 games a week just isn't physically possible because I've got to go to work and I've got to be a dad as well. So 3 games a week will take up all that time. So that's not possible. So maybe we might have to go through the winter.
Like I'm slightly old enough to remember the season before Super League, the centenary season, kind of backed on to the start of the Super League season.
Was that a World Cup year as well, Mike?
It was. So you had World Cup, and then you had
next year's a World Cup year as well.
Yeah, I think exactly.
They've got the Ashes landing for there, and they might have to push it back a little bit. But if you go into next season, you're having lads that will have played a full season into winter.
Yeah,
really short break, shorter than they've probably ever had. Another really long season, and then a World Cup on home soil.
Yeah.
Or what they might do, and what I've heard proposed, is do 2 shortened seasons, possibly as well, to give the World Cup the best chance. Would you be up for doing that, like work through the winter and then going into like another season? Or
obviously, as a player, like I'll be 32 at the start of next season, so age kind of might play a little bit of in it for me. But I think just because of what has actually happened, we've just way, and if that's the way forward, that we've got to go all through winter and then say have a month off and then go again. Yeah, it's not ideal and it won't be great on the body, but I would much rather do that than just completely lose a season of my career, which from a selfish point of view, I would be absolutely devastated. I know health comes first and all that, of course it does, but from my point of view, if I lost this season now, obviously with my age, I'd be absolutely devastated. And I know a lot of the older lads at Halifax feel the same way.
Do you think, I've heard similar things from Kevin De Bruyne in football, that the time off might lengthen his career? Yeah. Do you think that could be the same in yours? Obviously, you're not having the rigours of contact every week. But
yeah, there is a bit of that going on, because I've had a shoulder injury that I've just carried for a couple of years now, that it just will not go away. And because I'm not lifting any weights whatsoever, I'm having no contact. This is the first time in a long time I've not felt it. So this big extended break might help somewhat, but there's all kinds. There's getting a contract at a certain age, things like that. There's loads of things that they could scupper it. So it is what it is. I'd just be completely devastated if we lost the season. I really would. That's the thing, innit? That is. I wouldn't want to be the one who's making decisions on all this, because like with football, no one's coming out putting the name to it.
No.
All these ideas are coming out, but not one person standing up saying, "Look, this is my idea," and this is going to be the same in rugby league. We're just not as big as football, so it's not on a bigger scale. But end of the day, some decisions.
You said it were going to be light and breezy, this, Mike.
Oh, it can be now, right? We can end it in that bit. Well, begin at the beginning.
That's through the segue.
I feel like Michael last one. This is your life. Like we're going to do like a whole life's journey. So like chronological order. So, did you when you were growing up as a kid? Do you always want to be a rugby player, or was there like any other sport? I know you're a massive football fan.
Well, I was a footballer. I was a goalkeeper all through being a kid until I was about 14. And then I broke my arm playing rugby for school. And the football team that I played for basically said to me, "Look, you can play one or the other, rugby or football." And on the spot, I just said, "Look, I want to play rugby then." And I actually got my mum. My mum was there with me when I did it. And when I got out of the meeting room, I was at Wigan Athletic. So I basically give that up. And I walked out, and I can remember it to this day. My mum gave me a clip round the ear and said, "What have you just done that for?" I said, I prefer rugby league. I just always preferred it. I was I was a goalkeeper, but I just always preferred rugby league. And I thought, right, if you're going to make me make a choice, then that was my choice.
Sound like a glutton for punishment. You break your arm playing rugby, you get kicked off your mum, and you still choose rugby league. It's a bit of a weird way to go.
That's how it was back then, wasn't it? You messed about, you got a clip. Like I say, I'd rather watch a football match than a rugby league match, but I'd rather play a rugby league match than a football match. So that's just the way it is, and I chose rugby.
Goalkeeping might explain some of those catches anyway.
Well, I've done catching the ball above my head. Something I've done since I was a kid. It's just that was 4 times a week learning how to do that. So it did play a big part in it.
It's funny as well being a St Helens fan, and obviously, as we'll come on to, you went on to play for St Helens and being at Wigan Athletic. I thought that's why your mum had clipped you around the ear.
I weren't good enough. I obviously weren't good enough for Liverpool or Everton, so Wigan was the next closest team.
Fair dues, and yeah, as Rick said, Saints lad, signed for Saints. Was it dream come true? Was it what you wanted?
Oh,
Just describe what you were doing. Where did you play your amateur rugby, and how it came about you signing for Saints?
Well, it all fell into line with what I just told you about when I was 14. For my school, Mike Rush, who was in charge of the scholarship at Saints back then, came watching my school quite a lot, and he had an ear to quit football, jokingly, but he was always in my ear. And then as soon as I quit, I went and played for Blackbrook. That was my amateur team. And then I ended up at Saints on a scholarship pretty much straight away, left Wigan. And then it could only been weeks. And then I ended up at Saints scholarship, and I just went all the way through from there.
Nice one. And then obviously we worked your way through, got into the senior team, made debut, scored a try against Bradford.
Yeah.
Always good thing to do.
Well, that wasn't my debut. I actually made my debut the season before against Catalan Dragons at home.
This is why we don't trust Wikipedia, Mike.
It was.
Sorry, I didn't want to ring you up and right, tell me your life story.
Yeah, no, it was June 2006, I think, and I'd been playing under 18s all season, and then all of a sudden, Daniel Anderson rang me on a Tuesday or something and said, "Look, you need to come and train with the first team this week." And I was like, "All right, sound. I'm looking forward to that." Didn't have a clue, and then I trained with him all week, and then on Friday, he used to write the team down on a whiteboard, like a day before you played, and my name was like the 16th or something in the team. And I'm thinking, nah, that must be wrong. It must be 18th or something like that. And he pulled me and said, "Look, I'm going to have a look at you." I was on the bench. He said, "I'm going to have a look at you." I said, "I don't know what I'll put you on. You could get 40 minutes, you could get 10 minutes. I just want to have a look at you this weekend." And I was absolutely speechless. And then the game came around, and I was on the bench, we were beating Catalans by about 40 points at half time. So he actually brought Jamie Lyon off and put me on for him, which was like, I was just like, it was just dreamland, and it was just a day that I'll never forget.
Tough act to follow, eh?
Well, yeah, it turned out too tough, to be honest, but that couple of years that I had there can't ever be taken away from me, and that was my dream to play for Saints, and I managed it.
Is it that big a step up from playing against the season?
When I look back, it probably all came a little bit too soon for me. Obviously, at the time, Daniel didn't think that, but when I look back now, I think it all just came a little bit too thick and fast for me. And once I got, because I was playing quite regular, but once I started to not perform, I couldn't bring it back. They were just they play. I'm playing against likes of Keith Senior and Shantae Harpy and people like that. Once I couldn't get it back, I just really struggled to get back in the team, and then ended up obviously going out on loan a few times, and I just never really quite got it back.
Mm. Yeah, but one of those was to witness at the end of the season. Yeah. Did that kind of give you a new lease of life? What was that like going on loan?
Yeah, it was great. It was what I needed at the time, because like I say, I could feel my form going away from me a little bit, but I could still go and play. Instead of playing under 18s, I could still go and play against men and still learn my trade a little bit. And that spell that I had with Witness, I was there about 3 months. It's one of the most important times I've had in rugby league. I absolutely loved it there, and it was just what I needed right then, and it helped me quite a lot, to be honest. Yeah,
and then you took a very weird move from the outside looking into Celtic.
I don't think I really decided it myself, to be honest. I had Daniel Anderson had just announced he was leaving. Saints had give Mick Potter the job, and then within a couple of days, Mick Potter rang me up and said, "Look, I want you to go out on loan next season." So that came as a massive shock. I said, "So how long for? A month for what?" And he said, "No, the full season." And I was like, "Oh wow." So where am I going? Where am I going? He went, "Well, you've got a choice between Salford, Wakefield, or Celtic Crusaders." So I said, "Well, I'd rather go to Wakefield, if any." He went, "No, you're going to Celtic Crusaders." So I didn't have a choice. And he sent Matty Smith as well. So I ended up down there. It was a decent year as a life experience, but I was injured quite a lot. So playing wise, it didn't really work out for me that well. But obviously, living away for the first time, and that was decent. And I did enjoy it down there.
You based in Wrexham then at that time?
No, we was
Bridgend.
Bridgend, yeah. It was still South Wales then. So, like I say, it was a great place to. Well, Bridgend weren't necessarily a great place to live, but South Wales absolutely love it down there. So, it was a good year. It was a good year.
I suppose it stood you in good stead for the rest of your career, though, actually. What you said, it weren't necessarily your decision, but it's still a brave thing to go down there. Since we're so young and you never lived away from home. And Celtic, at that time, again, from the outside looking in, we're just signing kind of everyone, mixture of Australian journeymen, youngsters, that sort of thing.
There was, I think the idea behind, from Saints' point of view, was there was going to be a lot of spotlight on them. And it would have been a good opportunity for us. But like I say, I got down. Well, we did pre-season in Australia. We had that many Australian players. It was easier to take the British lads to Australia for a few weeks. So we did 5-6 weeks in Brisbane. And it was quite clear from the off that I was probably there as a number instead of someone who was going to be playing regular. Which I found tough at first, because I thought I was going to go down there and play straight away, but that didn't really happen. And then I got injured playing in the reserves, and then I was out for a long time with a back injury, and it just spiraled a little bit. But like I say, I did really enjoy it down there, and I met some great people down there as well.
And then obviously the next year you're on the move again to Salford, as you mentioned before. Was that your choice again, or was it?
Well, this was my choice, but I kind of went to them with my tail between my legs in a way, because when I decided to go to Celtic Crusaders, I went and met Sean McRae to tell him that I'd be going there. So I had to tell Sean McRae that I'd turned Salford down, and then the year after, I had to go and say to him, look, I want to come now. And to be fair to him, he was one of the nicest blokes I've ever met in rugby league. He just wasn't bothered. He didn't care. He said, look, you make decisions and you've just got to stick with it. And you did what you did. So I went to Salford, and again, I had a good year at Salford. I think I played about 20, 22 Super League games. And I absolutely loved it then. I thought I was going to stay, but towards the end of that year, as I moved on to Widnes made me a better offer. So that's why I went to there.
Did you have an inkling that you were going to leave Saints then, or was it?
Oh, I knew that after my year at Celtic Crusaders, my Saints days were probably up, no matter what I did at Salford. They never ever said it, but as a player, sometimes you just know. And like I say, I had a good year at Salford, but I don't think I was ever in Saints' thoughts again to go back there, which, you know, I was gutted at the time, but I had a lot of time to get my head around it.
Yeah, I was about to say, but it must be gutting, like, because you've trying to carve out a career, on-town club, dream move kind of thing. And, does your mindset kind of just switch to, I'm just trying to be the best player that I can, no matter what kind of strip I've got on?
I probably still was at I probably still wanted to play as high up as possible as I could in Super League. But then when I decided to go to Widnes back in the Championship, that was me thinking then that they'd go back into Super League and that would be my springboard again.
Yeah.
But like when Widnes went up, it was strange how it came along, because they got rid of everybody apart from myself and Ben Kavanagh and a few others. So I thought I was going to be staying, and then all of a sudden, about 3 weeks after the season had finished, Dennis Betts had got me in, and I thought, right, this is it now. I'll sign a deal. But he'd let me go. So that came as a bit of a shock. But it ended up working out well for me, because I don't know if Dennis tipped Carl up or anything like that. But literally, they let me go from Widnes. Carl Harrison ran me from Halifax. So I'd lost my job and then gained a job in the same day. So that was a bit of a strange day. And then obviously the rest is history, as they say with that.
Yeah. Were you full-time at Widnes, even though you're in Championship as well?
Yeah. So when I came to Halifax, it was all, the part-time stuff was all real new to me. It was something that took me a while to get used to. Actually, it was different, just doing nothing all day.
Tough.
You just had so much time, because I didn't have a job at first. I didn't go into work. I just thought, it's all right, I'll just carry on playing rugby. I'll just train at night. But you had so much time. It was just strange. And then I put a bit of weight on compared to what I would normally be, and it was just different. It took a lot of time to get used to it, and it was like, you like to Lee Patterson and Penke, who kind of said, look, you've got to keep active. You've got to do more, because training 3 nights a week isn't enough. You've got to keep doing more. But then obviously I got the hang of it eventually.
Well, it didn't take you long to bring success to Halifax. I know you're going to repeat yourself here from the video that Rick did with you, but I must have thought.
Question, if I could, I wanted to ask, when you were at Widnes and you were full time, you obviously played at the Shane against Fax a couple of times. What was your impression of the outside looking in, and how does that compare to your impression inside looking out now?
My impression when I was playing for Widnes against Halifax was I loved playing at the Shea. The Shea was a building site on one side, pretty much. But I think I played them twice. I think they knocked us out. Played them twice, both times at the Shea in 2008. They beat us in a really close game, just a league game. And then they knocked us out the playoffs on a Sky game on a Thursday night. I think Ben Black and Graham Allroyd were playing. And I just remember them having a light, just absolutely rapid. They were the type of team who could go from their try line to your try line, like at the click of a finger. And I remember the south stand, it was absolutely rammed, absolutely packed. And then obviously Widnes always travel well. So the north stand, that was rammed as well. So it was always a good atmosphere playing there. And that was kind of my my thought process a little bit when the call came from Carl. I was like, yeah, it's a good place to play. I'm all right with that. I'll do that. Yeah. So I was made up.
What was Carl like as a coach then? Because he's big international. He's an intimidating figure.
Yeah, he liked to remind you that he was a big international as well. He was just brilliant. He was just obviously everyone has met Carl. He just lights up a room when he comes into it, and he used to wind Luke Ambler up all the time because, as you'll know, Luke Ambler's proud Irish player. And he used to get Luke all the time saying that that's not a full international. Wales, Ireland, Scotland. Wales, Ireland, Scotland are not full internationals. GB, England, full internationals. And he used to wind Ambler up all the time with stuff like that. But Carl, he just literally, I spoke to him once on the phone. He offered me a pretty rubbish deal, but his enthusiasm and how he speaks, I was like, right, I want to play, but I can't sign for that money. And then he said, right, you tell me you want blah, blah, blah. Come back to me and we'll see. So I told him and we met in the middle. And he just literally from the minute go just had me hooked and just wanted to play there. And he was brilliant and I absolutely loved playing for him.
And one of his tactical masterpieces was the Northern Rail final against Fev.
Yeah.
And it's... Again, I'll thank you for such an amazing day and that try.
Yeah.
How good is it genuinely to score a last minute try?
I can't. Well, I can't put it into words. Like I was lucky to be playing because I was at. Have you seen on the videos? I had a strapping on my knee. My knee was. I was in a bad way really a couple of weeks before, so I didn't play for a few weeks. Then Carl said, "Just make sure you're right for the final." And I got myself fit, so I was all right to play. But I had a pretty quiet game, really. I wasn't as involved as I probably should be. And I had Sam Smeaton in my ear all game. Sam is one of the biggest stirrers you can play against. He's awful. He's just in your ear constantly. And then he scores an awful try against me. And from then on in, I was like, right, I've got to do something here. I've got to sort myself out. And then obviously, the last minute, that pops up. Celebration was all for him. It weren't for anybody else. It was all for Sam Smeaton. He brought it out of me. I shook hands with him afterwards and everything. I've played with him since, but he brought that out of me, that celebration, and you can't beat that feeling. Like you dream of it. You dream of it as a kid. You want to score the winner in a final, no matter what final it is. It could be a school final, it could be Super League final, anything. You want that feeling, and nothing tops that.
Yeah, but it was an amazing day kind of thing. It just did you think? Hang on, this is the start of something special. If we won Northern Rail Cup, we should be building towards something good here.
I said this to Rick last week. I thought that season we ended up underachieving. I thought we had a real mobile pack, two really good halfbacks, good backs. We were fast, skillful. Won the cup, beat Featherstone by 60 points at their place. I think the start of that season we won 8, maybe 9 games straight. So we were a good team, but then coming to the end of the season, we just started running out of bodies. People started getting injured. Penke wasn't as focused because he was leaving. Things like that mount up on a team, and I think we played Keighley the first round of the playoffs. We scraped through against Keighley.
Yeah, Hamforth, didn't he, mate?
Yeah. We scraped through against them, and then Sheffield put the rafters through us, just absolutely smoked us, and we were just all sat in the change rooms thinking, we've really let one go here because we're a better team than that. We should have done better.
And then 2013-14, a bit of weird years in that respect, and from a fan's point of view, for the 3 or 4 years before that, we were spoilt.
Yeah,
we had Matt Callan as a coach, and we were the entertainers, and we were used to swashbuckling, never say die rugby, having games that finished 40 or 30 odd kind of thing.
Yeah,
and then 13-14 was a a
Yeah.
bit of a drag, really, in all honesty. Did you kind of know that as well, or
2013 was probably the year that I don't really want to remember in a way.
Yeah.
Nothing really happened for us. I think the biggest factor that done us that year and was losing Penke. Because Penke was the player that if nothing was happening, he made something happen. And losing him, I think, was massive. We gained Scott. We gained Scott. You lose Penke and gain Scott, you think that's not a bad swap actually, and it wasn't in terms of what Scott's done for the team. But that season, I don't know what happened to us as a group, but I just think losing Penke was just something that, in my opinion, shouldn't have happened, but it did, and then it had a big knock-on effect.
It shows the importance of having a top quality hooker in your side.
He's the best. He's the best that division's had, I reckon. When they keep showing these old clips now of games, he just absolutely destroys everyone. He was just so fast, so clever, hard as well, and it was just he was a big loss, and I don't think that gap got filled.
No, absolutely right.
I'm gonna have to jump in here. We're gonna have to take a short break and reboot the old podcast. But
right,
in a moment's time,
we'll put 50p in a meter.
Put 50p in the Eclipse energy meter.
Hello, welcome back to the second part of Talking About Life, proudly sponsored by Eclipse Energy. As you can see or heard in the first part, we've got Steve and Tyrer, our very, very special guests today, and I'm doing this is your life moment at the moment, and we've reached 2014, and we kind of said at the back end of the first part that 2013-14 were quite weird years, bit anticlimactic years, and from the outside looking from a fan's point of view, we kind of knew that Harrison's days were numbered. Really, there were growing unrest on the terraces.
Yeah,
we're losing games that we should have won, and again, fans are very receptive to players who either have just lost the mojo kind of thing, or possibly they don't want to play for the coach. Was that ever the case, or was it? I don't know. You tell me.
I think it's a difficult one with Cal because you always wanted to play for him, but I think a lot of players had kind of lost faith in what we were doing, which can happen. It was just when it happened, when he lost his job, I actually found out, and I don't know how. I still to this day don't know how, but I actually found out off Bobby Goulding because this is God's honest truth. I woke up on I don't know if it was a Wednesday morning, and I checked on my phone, and he had a Twitter message from Bobby Goulding. I'm thinking, I'll have a look at this. He went, I opened it, and he went, "Get me that job, son," and I was like, "Whoa."
Imagine.
So Bobby, who's obviously one of my heroes as a kid, so Bobby's messaging saying, "Get me that job, son," and I'm thinking, "What job?" So I'm sat there and I'm thinking, "What's he on about?" So message back saying, "All right, Bob, how you doing? Blah blah blah. What's this you're on about?" And he said, "Carl Harrison's been sacked. Get me that job." And I was like, so I didn't reply for a good while because I thought, nah, he's not. He can't be. So obviously I checked. I asked Muzzer because Muzzer's obviously the go-to man with anything. And Scott said, "Yeah, but don't say anything yet because he's going to come and speak to everyone at training tonight." And I was like, wow. So it was a big shock. It was a massive shock. Club legend, not been there all that long, just wasn't expecting it. And it was just strange. But he definitely didn't, in my opinion, he definitely didn't deserve to be sacked. But I could kind of see what people from the outside was seeing because we weren't playing well. We wasn't playing well.
No, and again, it's like I mentioned before, because of the style of rugby that we played and the success that we had before, he came in at a very, very unfortunate time because of what Callan did, us winning the grand final and so on and so forth. He came at the wrong time. In hindsight, I'm so glad that it's not tarnished his reputation because he is a club legend. He was absolute brilliant as a player. And again, from the outside looking, we did need a change, and these sort of things do happen in rugby league. But it's interesting to hear you being the shock.
I want to make a point on this. That year, the final year of Rhino's tenure at the club as coach, there was a lot of negativity from the stands, wasn't there? And you could sort of feel that. The negativity from the fans was seeping into the players, and it was sort of like the club's probably never been more divided than at that point in time, where it was sort of like, oh God, well, if you don't care, we don't care, we don't care, you don't care. But then on the flip side of that, it's like we seem to always have a confidence-based squad, because when we've been really good and everything's positive, we fly, don't we?
Yeah.
I mean, but it's sort of like 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. They're both the same thing, but that year it seemed like the negativity, the final year, 2014, it seemed like the negativity really hurt the team. What do you reckon to that?
Yeah, well, as you know, Carl's the most upbeat, positive man ever. He had a bit of a front of the big tough man, and he is side at training. He weren't like that. He handled players really well. So that's why it hurt me a little bit when he lost his job. But you could sense it, because there was times, I think we lost to North Wales Crusaders at home. Yeah, I remember the crowd. I remember the crowd booing, and they weren't booing us. It was aimed at Carl, and obviously that was awful. That weren't nice to see. But I think that was when it kind of kicked in a little bit, and it was, like I say, it was a season that just never really took off. And sadly, he lost his job.
I've literally thought of a question right now, and it kind of brought me back. Like you try to forget 2013, I've tried to forget that season at all.
Yeah.
I remember at Dewsbury, we were losing. You had a very rare day off for the boots, and I think we might have been 2 points behind with about 7 or 8 minutes to go.
Yeah,
and we got a penalty of 40 yards out.
Yeah,
and from the stands, it looked like you didn't want to kick it. That's all.
Yeah.
And the players didn't.
Yeah.
But obviously, your players looking to bench and that.
Yeah.
How did that feel? What were your thoughts on that? Because you end up, I think you end up missing the kick as well, because obviously goalies do have off days.
We did. I think obviously I remember that game. I must have missed 5, maybe 6 kicks.
Yeah.
I'd had an absolute shocker. I don't think I've ever had one like that since.
No.
But I remember when Lee Greenwood came on with the kicking tee. I said, "What are you doing?" He went, "Take 2." I said, "We'll score here. Scoring tries wasn't the problem. It was making them into 6s that was the problem that day." I said, "What are you doing?" I said, it's not often I will ever refuse to take a kick. My hand's straight. Yeah, come on, I'll have it. Let's have it. That I remember him coming on, and I was just like, "Nah, mate, let's kick it for touch, get a win." And we can't lose this game. We can't lose this game. So they were happy with the draw in a way. We can't lose this game, and I was like, oh. And I remember kicking it, and there's always a wind at Dewsbury, but the wind was with me this time. And I aimed it far right, so the wind brings it back in. And just to sum that day up, the wind at Dewsbury just stopped, and it just missed. It missed by a long way. Whereas if the wind had blew it, it might have come back round, and the wind stopped. It never ever stops being windy at Dewsbury, but this kick, it stopped, and it just went flying right. And I was in the change rooms, and I knew it was a big. I knew that was a big moment in terms of what was about to come. I knew that was a big moment that game.
Because again, it was kind of indicative of, from the outside looking in, Harrison's kind of tactics. Like, again, I keep mentioning the years that had gone before, but it's a basic principle: you play to win, you don't play for draw. We were so used to having players on the team or coaches like going, we can score, we'll go for the win.
Yeah,
don't die wondering, kind of thing. And
I think looking back, I think he probably should have listened to what the players are sensing on the field. But in that type of game where it was a yo-yo game, he probably doesn't trust us. So he's probably thinking, right, I'm making this decision. This is my decision. Do it. But you know, we might not have scored. We might not have, and then you know he's trusted us, and we've let him down again. But it was just it was one of them moments that it still sticks with me, because as soon as you mentioned the word Dewsbury, then I knew what was coming. I knew. I just know. I knew. No, it's all right. But I just knew the relevance of that in terms of what came further down the line, and yeah, it's just like I keep saying. It was just an awful feeling that playing towards as a team, letting him down like that, and you know, there's not much more I can really say on it, to be honest.
The other thing, you were kicking into our fans as well, weren't you? So you had us all there going like, "Come on!" Like,
yeah, but
a bit more.
I think after that kind of day that I'd had with the kicking, I don't think many were expecting it to go over. So I think that's why people were groaning about it. But you know, that happens sometimes, doesn't it? It can't always run smoothly.
No, and not long after he said that Harrison went, and then 2015 brought Richard Marshall.
Yeah.
What were it like? Was it? Did you know much about him before he came? What sort of impact?
I just knew him when he rang everybody individually when he got the job, and I was working with Dane Manning at the time, so he rang Dane, spoke to Dane, and then spoke to me. And when he announced himself as Richard Marshall, at the time I was, how are you, mate? Nice to speak to you. But in my head, I don't know him. And then I realised a short while, and I don't mean that disrespectful.
Yeah.
I just wasn't aware of who he was, and then I realised who he was eventually. Ex-prop, London Broncos, Halifax, had the blonde Mohican. I remember all that then. But at the time, on the spot, I was like, sure, but I don't know who I'm speaking to here, really. But when Richard came in, he kind of brought a headmaster mentality with him, and it rocked everybody. Everybody was like, "What's this bloke on about? We're part time here. We can't have a beer. We can't do this. We can't do that." What? He was actually a scary bloke when he first came. I was always avoiding him. I didn't want to speak to him. I just didn't want to know what he was going to say to me. But with his tough way of dealing with that pre-season, it put us in a really good stead for the season, because that season for me was just a boom. We just took off.
It was completely unexpected as well. Not just because we had those couple of years where it was kind of a bit of a anticlimactic and that sort of thing, but when in the years that I've supported Halifax, far too long, our best seasons come when it's completely unexpected. Where we don't necessarily have big names or no one fancies us. It's kind of the underdog mentality. Yeah. And Rick always mentions the Hulk Arthur, and I don't know if you played in that.
I was just about to do that, man.
you always mention it, but I didn't see it.
It was like an overnight change. It was like it'd come in with a new coaching manual, and you'd all become different players overnight. Your tackling technique were better. The way that we were approaching, honestly, it were like, wow, who's this coach we've got? Because I've never seen us play like this before. Did you? You obviously did the RAF camp, didn't you? And you'll have done. My thing was, it looked like you'd done a hell of a lot of work on technique of the game rather than just fitness and toughness. You know.
He came in with a Warrington mentality that I don't care if you make mistakes, if you're making mistakes, trying to be skillful or trying to play, do it, just play. There's no script, do it. And he backed us a lot. But what Richard was really, really good coach with was defensively. And his plan all along that, the best defensive team in the league. And I think we did it twice in his time here.
And then again,
things that there was go on, sorry.
Then again, the only time we didn't get it was when Toronto were in the league as well.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
We weren't far off, were we either? Actually,
got these little changes in defence, and if you didn't do it, you didn't play. It was as simple as that. So you'd see teams putting kicks in there'd be 10 of us chasing back instead of Junta. There'd be 10 players chasing back. Everybody just wanted to play and be desperate, and it just, like I say, it just lifted the standards massively in that first.
It lifted the crowd as well. As I say, the reason why I mentioned that Dewsbury game and the kind of mentality of Harrison, where and you mentioned it there, he didn't trust you to go for the try and try something new. As fans, we want to see, like exactly what you said. If you try something and don't come off, fair enough. At least you've tried it.
Yeah.
At least you've done it, and have that confidence to come back again and do it. And that was the biggest change, as well as the defence as well. You could just see 17 committed players on there, which is all we can ask for as fans.
Yeah, everybody kind of fought him in a way. Like we had our try line was just literally that's all bread and butter. No, and if they do, they really have to earn it. And I think we became a team. Everybody knew we wasn't the best team, but we became a team that you knew that you had to be 100% best day if you're going to beat us, or you won't beat us. You'll not get an easy day. And I think Halifax up under Richard, you had to be good to beat us. There was no easy days and no easy wins.
When did you think or kind of know that, I know we've got a chance to get it middle eights here?
Oh, well, I think we lost to London Broncos away the first time we played them since they come down. And then after that, I'm sure we either win 9 or 10 games in a row, and we beat Featherstone away, and we absolutely smashed Featherstone away. And then that was kind of like, we're all right here. We're a decent team. And then we kept winning. And then we get to the middle eights. We play Widnes at home, 0-0 for like 70 minutes or whatever it was. And we just kind of felt like we were a team that just come and play us and we'll see what happens. Come and play us and you're going to have to be good to beat us because we're ready for you. Whoever comes, we're ready for you. And we end up smoking Lee in the middle eights and we beat Bradford, and we could have played anybody and we were ready for them.
There's a game from that season that really sticks out for me, and it's when we played London at Keighley on a boiling hot day when we couldn't use the shade because of the pitch works. And that was the point where, like you said, you mentioned earlier on that Rich said, look, you play with skill but play with freedom. That was the day when it were like, you were thinking, well, if my mate that's backing me up there, I'll chuck it and just keep the ball alive and we'll see what happens. And we were scoring for fun. And it just really summed up that season of, like you said, we weren't going to go down wandering. We were going to go out in a blaze of glory, and it was just fantastic to watch.
Yeah, he just promoted that within you. Like, he wanted you to play with that confidence. London actually scored on the very first set in that game. We were kind of like, so don't worry about it. Short kick off, get it back, and then we never looked back. We absolutely blitzed them. And we just never looked back. We just wanted to play we didn't care whether we was playing Lee, Widnes, Bradford. Well, we loved playing Bradford that year. It didn't matter who we were playing. We were ready to play them, so it didn't matter.
Could tell, like, we've had 17 years of absolute rubbish from Bradford, and normally we'd play Bradford and it'd be like, oh, well, we'll have a good game, but probably not going to win. That day to get in the eights was the first time in a long time where I think we can beat Bradford here. They're not going to beat us here. And then your wonderful interception.
That day is another one that will stick with me for a long time. Did beat us twice that year, so it was kind of like, for Bradford, it was kind of resumed for them. But with that one, Richard just got us fired up for it. Like, it was a dead game. It was a nothing game. We both made them, but it was a derby game, and it was a chance for us to beat them at last. And we just, from the minute go, it was closer than it should have been, that game. We should have been out of sight at half time, but we didn't manage to do it. But then obviously we're drawing with a minute or two to go, and then Dane being the man that he is, just right, sod it, I'm going for it. Yeah, shot out, Addy paps it, leaves the ball, and because I know Dane's going to do that, I just flew up with him, and luckily for me, and again, that was a feeling that takes some beating.
It's funny because Adam O'Brien played on our team, didn't he? And he couldn't have given you a better pass to race away other way.
Yeah, I don't think he set me up for a try when he was at Halifax, but he set me up for one for Bradford. But it was just, I'm running away and I'm thinking, I start celebrating a little bit early, and I'm running away towards them fans, and the fans are going absolutely insane. Like, they were just like, come on. It was unbelievable. And the crowd, the level of noise for that day was just insane.
It's the loudest I've ever heard it anyway.
It was one of it.
It was unbelievable.
I just had a split second when you put your hand up to celebrate. Shades of Ben Black.
Yeah,
you weren't playing at the time. When Ben Black just dropped the ball, running. We played for Widnes. It was semi-final at Northern Rail.
Well,
I'm thinking, don't do that.
Yeah,
don't just put the ball down. Just do it. Play it.
Richard told me after the game and basically said, "Look, can't be having that. Like, not on the head. Basically, he can't be having that." And because obviously we had scored, we beat Bradford first time for years, so he was made up really, but he had to pull me and mention it. Like,
it's an iconic photograph now, though, so I'm glad you did do it.
Yeah.
It felt nice. I had to. I shouldn't have, but it was. I just got took away in the moment.
Don't blame me for that. And then a few weeks later, can't be a better feeling scored hat-trick at Odsal in front of the Sky cameras, and you're on about like best kind of rugby and the lead was off kind of thing. The second half against Bradford is up there with the 2010 style of play. It was just amazing.
Yeah, I think everything stuck that day. Everything, every pass went to hand, every kick bounced for us. We were absolutely red hot. I think I'd go as far as saying that's probably the moments I've played in for Halifax. I just thought from minute one we were absolutely red hot, and they couldn't live with us. They just literally could not live with us. It was just disappointing that didn't get us into the £1 million game, because we'd lost to Sheffield a couple of weeks before, who Sheffield were nowhere near as good a team as us.
No.
So it was the only disappointing thing about that season. Yeah, it could have looked a lot different. Say we wanted to play anybody, and we felt we could beat anybody. So if we had gone into that £1 million game against Wick, you just never know.
Yeah,
we'd have done a better job than Bradford, I reckon.
What were the celebrations like after that? I mean, because we've never scored 50 points at Odsal in how old's the club? 140 years. So I mean, you must have had a few pints bought for you that night.
Yeah, obviously the scoreline was nice, but with it being that inaugural middle eights, the club had put a really good bonus structure in place for us. I think they expected us to finish where we did. So where we finished got us a really good, a nice bonus. I think we were celebrating the score and the season, but also we were all getting 3 or 4 pockets, so we were all absolutely buzzing with that as well. So it was a great day for.
And then obviously that leads on to the 2016 season, and can't start any better than equaling the points in a game record. But obviously mentioned it in Rick's video.
I was completely unaware of it. Didn't have a clue. Got off to a fly. Went scoring a few tries, 4 tries, and then Ross Devotti was carrying the water that day. came on, we scored towards the end of the game and said, "Oh, do you know if you kick this, you've scored more points in the game than anybody else for Halifax?" I was like, looking at him thinking, "Why have you told me that now?" I was something like seven from 7 kicking. I said, "Why have you told me that now?" And then there you go. Bloody, I missed it, and I was like, I was gutted. Like, I'm not saying I would have kicked it if he hadn't told me, but when he told me, I was thinking, "Oh, get it up, come on, kick it." But when I missed it, I remember it. I missed it by some way as well, and I was gutted. I was proper gutted about it. But it's still nice to equal it.
Yeah, definitely. And then after that, 2016, just what went wrong? Because I thought, here we go again. We've had one good season under a coach, and then it's all going kind of wrong.
No, look at the summer bash. I mean, at the point in the summer bash, so when's that, like late May, we were like, we're going to do it again. We're absolutely brilliant. We nilled Featherstone, and then maybe, do you believe we started to believe our own hype a bit too much, just like in the smell of our own exhaust?
I think a few things went wrong that year. I think there might have been a bit of that. I think the team thought we were definitely shades of that. But I think the players that got brought in didn't fit what we built the year before. That's not that these players weren't good players, because they were very good players, but I just don't think they quite fit Richard's way of playing. So then we were out of balance a little bit. We never really got going. But like you say, we had flashes of brilliance, but weren't consistent enough. And then it came down to one game against Featherstone, and then we just made a hash of it.
And then, it was a shame, because on paper, we should have been in that middle eights. We should have been challenging up on that table, but game it played on paper.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, a very much publicised pay cut offered to the players. Did you ever think about leaving, or was it just a case of, we've got to stick together, we're a band of brothers here?
Well, when we found out, it was me, Scott, Grixie, and Ben Kay. We went and met Richard at Toby Carvery in Halifax, and Richard explained what was going to happen. And all 4 of us pretty much said straight away, we didn't even think about it. We were like, look, we're here, we're all right. We'll accept the pay cut. Hopefully us taking it, everybody else will fall in line. And then so everybody, Connor Robinson, I'll sign, John, I'll sign, Ben Kay, I'll sign. It came all the way down. And then there was one person who hadn't signed, which was Dane. And it was like, I still am really close with Dane. And Dane rang me. I don't know if he rang anybody else. He rang me and he said, I'm not signing. I'm going to leave. And he couldn't speak, Dane. He couldn't get it out because he was emotional. And I had a tear in my eye, and I was like, oh man, I said, you can't go, you can't leave. You're our best player. You can't leave. I said, then I'll come and work with you. We'll earn your money back in no time. Don't leave. I was doing everything I could, and he'd made his mind up. And we ended up on the phone together. We were both crying.
Oh.
It was just the emotion of him not being able to speak and how gutted he was that he had to do what he was doing. I'm like, so then I started welling up, and I'm thinking, I've got to get off the phone here. I'm going to start crying. I've got to get off the phone.
I could just imagine your conversation there, Tyrer. Do another 40 tackles this season.
Yeah, basically. I'm thinking, it's happening again. We lost Penke, and then we went the wrong way. We're going to lose Dane. How do you replace Dane? You can't replace Dane. So it was just lad. But then when you think of it, that out of the whole team, we only lost one player to that situation was a credit to the group of players that wanted to stay and wanted to fight. And I'm not saying Dane didn't want to stay and want to fight, because he had more fight than anybody, but he obviously had his reasons. Yeah. He had his reasons, and fair play to him. He stuck to his morals that he had.
You can't argue with part-time players if they're offered a better deal. As I say, it's a short career, got families to support and that sort of thing. I'd never ever like diss a player for doing that at all.
No.
And you're right. And again, from the outside looking in, it showed what we've said for like the last 5 or 6 years. The team spirit is amazing. And
Yeah. Well,
it was so good to actually see that in action, really.
Scott Morrell played a big. I think that was his 2017 for me was Scott's biggest year as a captain. He just did a great job in leading everybody. He had Grixie helping him. Obviously, Grixie came in the year before but didn't play because of injuries. We got Grixie playing. So having them two with such experience in a season like that, they both really stepped up, and it dragged a lot out of everybody. And then, like going back to Dane, when you're thinking about you can't replace Dane, we signed Shane. And I remember Shane ringing me. I didn't know Richard spoke to him, and Shane rang me because I'm good mates with Shane. I've known him for years. He said, "What's it like? Should I come?" And I was like, "Oh mate, you've got to. You've got to. We need you." And he signed, and then obviously I remember Shane getting released that he'd signed, but because we'd lost Dane, I remember the reaction being a bit like,
well, if you remember at the time, we knew him as a centre at Dewsbury. We're like, we don't need a centre. How are we going to replace Dane with a centre from Dewsbury? And then it turned out to be a fantastic move.
But I remember like, you know me sometimes, I can't help but have a say about certain things. And I remember saying, look, at the end of the season, you'll look back and Shane will be our best signing. You'll be, honestly, and I think he was. That year, his first year with us, he was unbelievable.
Yeah,
definitely. He's a completely different back rower to Dane. He's got, in the nicest possible way, he's got a brain. He's got a rugby brain. Whereas Dane is just all out effort, guts, brawn, mentally tough. Shane was like, give me the ball, I'll run a line. Give me the ball, I can pass. Give me the ball, I can kick. If Tyrer's not playing, I can kick a goal. Like Shane had a little bit of everything, whereas Dane was just blood, snot and tears and just graft. And so in a way, Shane took us up a little level as well.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Blanket for Jono, wasn't he, as well? Just having someone that you knew were going to take that crack ball every single play, regardless of. I think we lost a bit of that afterwards because I think was it the year after where Tower left, Mitch Carley.
Yeah.
When we had those two firing and just running at the line without any consideration for their own safety, it was just absolutely magnificent.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think Jono got Shane quite a few broken teeth that year. He was just hitting him and hitting him and hitting him and hitting him. But Jono knew that the percentage play was hitting Shane because he's that good at running a line. Eventually, he's going through. He's going through. But then, like you refer to Mitch. Mitch, in my opinion, is the best prop that while he was here, is the best prop the Championship had. And I don't care whether it was full-time Lee or Toronto or anyone, Mitch was the best prop.
Yeah.
And then he had his best mate with him, Adze, who just complemented each other so well. So running off the back of them, it was just heaven. We realised how good Mitch and Adze was when we didn't have Mitch and Adze. That's when we realised, hang on a minute, these two need this is a big pair of boots that need filling for both of these. And obviously Adze's come back more times in a boomerang, but every time he's come back, we've needed him.
Yeah.
We've just, because he's that good of a player, but him and Mitch just complemented each other so well.
I think the biggest compliment...
The third input that came at that time then. Nobody the third one, do they?
Well, Matt just, from the minute go, just could not accept that it was cold. He could not get his head round that it was going to snow, it was going to rain pretty much all year. He just could not accept that he's going to be playing in mud for 3 months before it gets warm. Like, he couldn't handle moving. He was too young and he couldn't handle it, basically.
Yeah. Having a
he was a good lad.
Girlfriend as well certainly didn't.
He was a good lad. He just couldn't adapt. He just couldn't do it.
You mentioned about him being like not liking the cold. It's really funny because the only try he scored for the club were on that. If you remember that awful battle, I think we won by 4 points and he scored it, and it was absolutely awful. And I think after
the tone,
playing in a game like that, would think, God, if it's going to be like this every week, I'm going home.
Well, what set the tone for him was his very first session was a hill session at Shibden. His very first training session. So we're all doing it. Oh, there was snow on the ground and everything. We're all doing it. And we'd all finished our last hill, and Matt's going up that slow. If he goes any slower, he's going to start going backwards and down the hill. So, and I've never done anything like this in my life. I'd finished mine. I ran back down to help him up, to say, come on, we've got you here, get up. It's your first session, get it out of the way. And he told me to F off. He genuinely told me to F off, and I thought, and I knew he wasn't going to be ready to play. He wasn't going to be able to do it. I just knew straight away. And then we all kept saying to him, we'll give you till March. And we were right. He went in March. He just, for whatever reason, he just couldn't do it. And fair play to him. He put his hand up and said, look, it's not worked for me. I need to go. And he went home.
Fair news. Going back to Grady, the biggest compliment I can give Grady is that people, in the nice possible way, forgot about Manning. We lost Manning, and that's the big comment. I knew he was a decent player because he played for Widnes, and I knew he was all right, but didn't realise how good he was until he played for Halifax. And he complimented a lot of kind of new faces coming to the team. That is when the reserves start to really kick in, because what me and Rick have said in podcasts quite a few times is 2016 season was a blessing in disguise, really, because it gave the likes of Brandon Moore, Elliot Morris, Chester Butler, Woodburn All, the likes of playing first team rugby and doing well. And then going forward to the 2017 season with the running that we had, it was fantastic.
Yeah. Like I said on Rick's video last week, in 2017, we started the season quite well, and then we tailed off in the middle, and then we lost to Swinton, and it was just like, oh my God, we've missed out again. We're not going to get our money back. We've let everybody down. Because you look at the 4 fixtures that we had, even though Bradford were getting relegated that year, it's still Bradford v Halifax. You've got Toulouse away, Featherstone away, and Hull KR at home. So it's like, Jesus. And then you knock them off and we get to Hull KR. But on the Saturday night, before Hull KR, Featherstone were playing Toulouse away. If Featherstone won...
Yes.
Yeah. If Featherstone won, Sunday didn't matter to us. We were in. So we're all on WhatsApp, keeping an eye on the score, all at home on Saturday. Yeah. Well, we were all watching it live on the scores and stuff. Featherstone score on like 78th minute. We're all celebrating like mad. We're going
I've
mad.
never wanted Featherstone to win a game until...
No, neither. And then, lads were about to crack open the beers because Sunday didn't mean anything.
They did, didn't they?
Well, I think a few might have. I don't think they drank them, but a few did. And then, so we're all talking to each other. And then all of a sudden it comes through that Kunai Mingus scored a full-length try. The WhatsApp was dead for 10 minutes. It was just dead. And for the whole time that this was happening, Simon Griggs never said one word, like in the WhatsApp all game, never said one word. 10 minutes had gone after the game. It was Griggs who put in, I can't repeat most of it, but said, who cares? We'll smash Hull KR tomorrow. We're playing that well. We'll smash Hull KR tomorrow. And I was kind of reading it thinking, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And then we turned up on
one of those games where it didn't matter who we were playing, we could have beaten.
We were white hot.
But before we come on to that, we will save that fantastic ending how we did that, because we are going to have another little short break.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Eclipse Energy. We'll put another 50p in here. We'll see you shortly.
See you on the other side. Hello and welcome to another part of Talking the Bats of Life, proudly sponsored by Eclipse Energy. With very, very special guest Stephen Tyrer, who has joined us for an unofficial episode of This Is Your Life. And we've reached 2017 now. I want to just go back slightly because we skipped ahead to the whole KR game. I want to go back to the Toulouse game because I've supported Halifax for nearly 30 years now. Sound like an old man. And up until very recently, it was the best experience I've ever had watching a game. Before, after, during, it was amazing. And the video that you did with Rick, it kind of, and I'm glad you mentioned it, but it sums up why you are one of my favourite players, but also your favourite in the terrace. When you fall to the floor, where at the end, it just shows that you put your blood, sweat, and tears into it, and it just shows that, and then fans love that.
Again,
can tell you that you're honest.
Again, the tears. I was nearly in tears. To that group of players, what that win meant, because we were there, we were told to kick off at 1 o'clock when it's hot as hell there. Everything was set up to make sure we lost.
Yeah.
So to defy the odds, like Ben Fowler was refereeing, and I thought Ben Fowler did a good job. To be fair,
he was, yeah.
But he reffed the game to a standard that kind of suited Toulouse's play and speed. But he also reffed it as if like it was a Super League game kind of thing because he knew the way Toulouse played. So we had to deal with that as well as Toulouse literally just peppering our line from the start to the finish of the game. The only sustained pressure we had in the game was when we ended up scoring the winning try. Yeah. The rest of it was just defend. And it was, like I said to Rick last week, the release of pressure when Jono scored that try was just phenomenal. I've never, ever experienced anything. Even scoring that try against Featherstone in the Northern Rail Cup, the way that the feeling of that win was just like nothing I've ever experienced before. That's why when the whistle went and I just fall, it was just, my reaction was just to get on the ground. I was just like gone. I just couldn't believe it. It was just a magic feeling, really.
It was amazing. I wish Scott Morell had done that because he came over and downed my pint that I had.
Yeah, well, that's why Muzzer's the pervo, isn't he? Because Muzzer always tends to celebrate with fans before he celebrates with his teammates. That's just his passion. That's just the way he is. But it was kind of we got into the changing rooms after that. At the 100 million degrees hot changing rooms with the heating on full whack. Richard was just like, get changed, get your Halifax gear on, get over that other side of that field and get amongst it. Get drinking with them supporters who've come over here with you. So we were like literally quickest shower ever, all still sweating from the game. Quickest shower, boom, straight over there. Not a Toulouse supporter in sight and just about 100 Halifax fans going absolutely insane.
But if you remember as well, they had it all set up, didn't they? And they were going to have a party and a barbecue. And when we beat them, they packed the whole thing up and went home. So they must have been, I don't know,
everything
waiting for a beer.
Everything was set for them to win. They were supposed to hammer us. They were supposed to hammer us. Make the middle eights, and we were supposed to lose, and that was it. We miss out, and that's what made it feel as sweet as it did, because you're not just playing against Toulouse, you're playing against the establishment in a way. So to give them one, it's like, yeah, come on, we're having this, and then it was kind of like, right, we'll smoke Fev, we'll have them, let's go and have Fev. And then when it came down to OKR, a little bit more nervous then, but we kind of had a bit of confidence about it as well.
And then I mentioned team spirit. I feel sorry for any Halifax fan that worked in the melting pot after the year. And it was just amazing. And what really set it off really nice is that obviously went out for some food as a team and stuff, and your caught taxis there. And it was like a red carpet thing. Each player kind of came in one after the other.
I always like turning up at the Oscars. You'd have a room full of people and the doors are wide open and a taxi would pull up and the door would open and you'd jump out and everyone would be going mad and we'd sing that player's song and then the next one would come in and everyone, it would just... I really think that was when we believed that
Everyone started to
want to
believe.
beat Fev and then beat KR, because it was just like, we're not losing. It were like a magical, otherworldly fit. It was bizarre, wasn't it?
That was the one that you had to win. If you don't win that one, that was it. We had to win that one. So it was kind of like, right, we've won this one. We'll beat Fev. We can beat Fev. We know we'll beat Fev. We'll beat them. And then you beat them and you're thinking, nah, nothing's stopping us now. But then when Toulouse beat Featherstone in the very last second, then you kind of think, oh, maybe it's not meant to be. And like I say, we were all silent for about 10 minutes and it took Gritty to speak up. And then, it went silent a little bit because I think everyone's thinking, oh, don't know about this. But then we turned up the next day to play OKR and it was just, it had like, for us, it meant nothing to them. They weren't bothered.
Yeah.
But to us, it had a grand final feel about it. It just meant so much. And I remember speaking to Cav. Cav was obviously playing for OKR. And I said to Cav, come on, mate, you just don't need this. Come on, let us have it. And he went, mate, we need to win. We have to win because we don't want to be going to France twice. You know, in the Super 8s. We have to win. We're thinking, yeah, all right, fair enough. But you don't need to win as much as us. But there was rumours and people saying, oh, Hull KR threw that game. They did not throw that game. Not a chance. Because Jamie Ellis put a couple of kicks out. He did it, but people don't tend to not see. He had a couple of players who were on the floor injured. That's why he's putting kicks out. He's not doing it to waste time when he's losing. He was just being a good sportsman doing what he was doing. And they were trying. They were doing everything they could. They just caught us on a day where it didn't matter. We were always going to win.
We were white hot. We were absolutely white. That first half where Ed Barber had, I can't remember who he had in his back pocket.
Yeah. Well, Ed just, no one had ever seen Ed play centre before. I hadn't. I thought, he's a big lad. He might struggle out there. He was unbelievable. He was absolutely unbelievable. He destroyed OKR every time we played him. It was just something about...
We sort of stumbled across a combination, didn't we? We had Tower in the back row, Ed at centre, and Fluff Ben Eaton on the wing. And it worked every time. I want to make the point. You were saying it's obvious that, excuse me, that Hull KR didn't throw the last game of the season. And what proved that to me was the absolute shambolic showing from KR when we went there, and we should have beat them in the first game of the 8th. We were robbed that day. We were absolutely robbed.
We were... That game, a penalty went against Jono from a marker. It was never a penalty in a year of Sundays. And then they got 3 sets of sustained pressure. Bang, 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 try. Bang, 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 try. And it come off the back of that. We were well in that game. I think we were winning. We were well in it.
The best game we played all year that year.
Oh, we were unbelievable that day. And then just one decision, just turn the screw, and then that was it. Then they went 3 tries ahead. I think we got a couple back, but not enough. And that was probably one of the toughest games I've played in that for Halifax. It was a real tough game. A lot of defending, but then we had our moments and stuff. It was a good game. Obviously, we got shafted, but it was a good game to play in.
Understatement.
Yeah, I just seem to remember Sean Lunt just kept talking to ref all in first half. Referee did nothing. And then in second half, you thought, oh, I might as well start to play now.
Yeah.
And get helped out by a very lenient ref who destroyed us.
Whenever we went to them into them Super 8s, referees seemed to always ref different against us. It was always, don't get me wrong, I know we're the championship team and we've got to raise our standards, but they never ever give us a chance. They just never give us anything. So it always feels like you're up against 14 men, and it makes it tough. And then you start getting frustrated week on week because you can't get a win, you can't buy a win, and it starts to grind you down eventually. And that's what was tough about them middle eights. Once you don't get a win, they're hard to find. So it was a good system to get into it, but once you got into it, it weren't the most enjoyable system to play in.
Did you enjoy the challenge of playing against Super League sides? Then did you kind of think I've got kind of something to prove here, or was it just a case of
like you kind of felt like you was in Super League for 8 weeks, if you get what I mean. So you're getting the same coverage as the Super 8s. So you're playing Super League teams, you're playing the best teams in your league. So you kind of feel like you're in Super League a little bit. But once we got in there, we always knew that we were always going to be doing it tough. Don't think we won in the last 2 times we went in it, which ain't nice. It ain't great. Yeah, well done, you've got in. But to not to be able to compete, that was what was flawed with that system. But we're glad we did it, obviously, because we had to, and it kept the club financially in good stead at the time. So it was good getting in there, but they were hard. They were hard levels of games every week.
Yeah, the deck's heavily weighted towards Super League side. Full-time team, millions to spend on a salary cap. It's tough.
It's not just that, is it, really? You've got to think we put so much into just making the top 4 in the first. Yeah. By the time it's like, right, you've done all that, now go up another level that you've just used to get there in the first place.
It was 4 cup finals before the Super 8s.
Yeah. I think the last time we was in it, we played all the championship teams first.
Yeah.
So we played Toulouse, Toronto. It might have been Featherstone. I can't remember. We played all the championship teams. So then we had back-to-back 4 Super League teams. So we were just looking at them fixtures thinking, if we don't get a win here against Toulouse or Toronto or Lee or whoever it was, we're struggling here. And that was probably the hardest one. I think we got battered every week. Yeah. We weren't a team that got battered, but this format really didn't help us at all.
No, like we said before, we had the best defence in the championship. We were second best defence behind Toronto.
Yeah,
and I think the first game we played was Toronto, and they only just beat us. I think it was something 10-0 or 12-0 something.
Yeah,
but then
it was close, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then I think the last game against Leeds, I think we were in it. Was it something 6-6 at half time? And then
we were doing all right, weren't we, against Leeds? We did all right, and then they just got away from us in second half, didn't they?
Yeah, but again, it's 2 amazing seasons where for a part-time team to do back-to-back middle 8s.
Yeah.
Again, 2018. 2018 was a bit of a weird one. It was we didn't necessarily start season all that great, and then when QLT signed, he was a big catalyst to bring us there. And then the Summer Bash, like me and Rick said on the podcast, Summer Bash. If you're there and thereabouts at Summer Bash, you've got a good chance of getting to the middle 8s. And then that win against Fev, we just knew had a big impact.
Well, the Summer Bash is a bonus game, isn't it? Because it's an extra game. If it's not there, we might not have made it that year. So it's a bonus. Yeah, exactly. So it's a bonus win.
I think we got in there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a bonus win, really. Again, I wish we could play Featherstone every time at Blackpool, because something special happens in them games for us.
Yeah.
So that was a great memory from that year, and like you say, it plays a bit. If you're in contention at that point, you're starting to look up and think, right, we've got a good chance here now.
And then it was all set up for 2019 to be kind of more the same. We kept QLT. The youngsters were coming through.
We were saying, weren't we? All the fans were saying pre-season that's probably the best squad we'd had on paper in the championship era, we thought.
Yeah, I remember doing. It's when I first started doing radio show and stuff, and I remember having Matt Shaw on the first show, and we both kind of said this squad is the best squad we've had since 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
And as we've run through this hour and a bit, something seemed to go wrong. Cut to the chase. I was there in Toulouse that day after Good Friday, where let's go on to Good Friday, where we should have won that game. We had the game won, and then what happened?
We had a weakened team. We didn't have a full team. I was captain that day. Muzzy wasn't playing. There was a few not playing. We're 3 tries ahead, something like that. And we're coasting, and then they get one, they get two, and then I could just see the team wilting a little bit. I'm thinking it's a matter of time, this. And then they score the winner. It's Jake Webster who scored the winner. And then it was that moment. It was that moment where I kind of thought this could be the end in a way for Richard, because there was just something within the team that wasn't happening. It wasn't happening then. We all had a pool session that we were supposed to go to afterwards. Only half the team showed up for whatever reason. And I remember being in the pool and I was speaking to Jacob Furbank, and I was like, this ain't right, this. I said, this ain't right. I said, if this is 2 years ago, every single player, or a year ago, every single player is in this pool right now. They'd have been here after a loss like that. They'd have been terrified not to be here, and they wasn't there. So I was kind of thinking, this ain't good. And then obviously you've got the task of all tasks, having to go to Toulouse 2 days later. And that game, we don't get battered very often. We don't get beaten in the league heavily very often. And Toulouse absolutely whacked us. And again, at the end of that game, I remember coming off it thinking there must have been about 2 or 3 of us who'd had a real dig in that game and actually tried. The rest had just switched off. We just weren't good enough. And then obviously
you stole my question. The question was, I was there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And there's been very, very few occasions in my time of watching Halifax where you can look on the field and see players not trying or not putting the effort that they're usually doing. Yeah. Everything came off to Toulouse. Toulouse were white hot. Every single ball stuck and that sort of thing.
But every single ball stuck from the very first set. But their first try, Mark Corella literally just ran through about 4 of us.
Yeah,
just ran through us, and then and this was the first set of the game. So we're behind the post. So the usual talk is, right, we don't come here again. We don't defend. We're not behind this post again. Kick off. We're behind our post again.
Yeah,
and then that was it. Then it was like everybody just down tools and you look around. Nobody's saying a word. When we get the ball, we're making errors on 2 and 3 tackles. It was an horrific day. It was probably my worst experience, and I was captain as well because Scott weren't playing. So it was probably my worst experience as a player for the club that day. It was just horrific. And then obviously that was Richard's last game. Richard in the change rooms after the game was just he was quite angry. Actually, he was quite aggressive. And rightly so. We've probably cost him his job. He probably knew it, and it was a very strange weekend. It was just, right, get us out of here. We want to go home, and we had to stay for 2 days. But it was horrific. It just was not a nice weekend to remember.
No, you're absolutely right. As I say, as a fan looking on, I remember texting home or it might be you, Rick, or like my mates, like saying, these guys aren't playing for Marshall. They want him gone. Yeah. Given that, were you still shocked when 2-3 days after he did go?
I was. I was shocked. I think a few of us were shocked. Like, in hindsight, looking back, you can see it all. But at the time, you can't always see everything, because I was kind of thinking, he's got too much credit in the bank. He's not going to get sacked. Yeah. I remember we all knew it was happened, but no, it hadn't officially happened yet. So then when Christian had told the team, me and Ben Kay were like, we spoke up. Scott did as well. Me, Ben Kay and Scott all spoke up for Rich and say, like, we disagree with you. It's the player's fault. We need to sort it out. He deserves more time. Let us sort it out. But Christian decided to, no, look, the table's getting away from us. We need to make a change. All right, fair enough. So then when he said it was Grixie, we were all just like, right, we're on board here. We're with you. We're with you. We'll back Grixie all the way because we've played with him. Top lad, top bloke, Halifax lad, young coach, knows absolutely everything about the game already. Like, so knowledgeable, it's unbelievable.
I learnt more about the game talking to Grixie for half an hour than I did watching for 25 years.
Yeah, he knows everything. He knows absolutely everything. It's like, all right, we'll throw our weight behind this, and then we go and win 4, 5, 6 games in a row for Grixie, and we're thinking, right, we're back here. And then for whatever reason, we went on a run where we just couldn't buy a win, and then confidence was gone again.
Do you think that had anything to do with the cup run?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Because it's an easy accusation to make, and if you did say that, a player did say that, we wouldn't blame you at all.
No,
we would not blame you at all. But
you don't. Right, so we play Unsley the first round, expect to win, only just win.
Yeah.
Then we get London in this game. We had a weakened team. We probably won't win this game. We win that game. Well, you're not thinking. You're not sat there thinking, "Oh, we could win the cup." Right? Who we get next? Or we get Dewsbury. Oh, it's a rubbish tie that. But then we win that on a Friday night, and then we go and watch Bradford and Leeds on telly the next day. We're all on Benkei Stag Do watching Bradford and Leeds. Bradford are celebrating like they've won Super League, and then obviously we draw Bradford, and we're all on the ale, and we're thinking we're having these. Now we're having it. Nothing else matters. We're having it. Beat Bradford, which was beating them in that game because all the BBC, Bradford. Oh, let's mention Halifax. And then to beat them, and everybody's like, hang on a minute, Halifax have done it again here. And then to get drawn against Saints, it's kind of like, yeah, come on, we've got to have a go in now. We've got to give it a blast. But I don't think we're ever going into games in the league thinking, oh, we've got the cup next week. Like maybe the week before we played Saints. Possibly.
Are you not thinking though? God, I don't want to blow my knee out against Batley.
You can't. No, you can't do that in rugby though. You can't. If you play thinking like that, you get injured. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to get injured, it's a freak thing. But if you go into a game half cocked, you are going to get injured. So I don't think many rugby players think like that.
No.
Well, that
he should.
Odd soul, man. I mean. That's if I've ever cried because of a result, that was the one. Once because we thought we'd lost it, and twice because well, Kev dropped the ball off a scrum, didn't he? We get the ball, we're winning. Kev takes a carry, he drops it. Matty Wiley picks it up, and I remember being behind the post, and no one at the time was actually consoling Kev because they were not that like everyone was annoyed with Kev. We just couldn't believe that this opportunity of a semi-final is gone. Because it had gone. And then, obviously, Woody steps up, little bit of individual brilliance, and then we're back like, oh, get in. And we were ecstatic. It was a nice feeling. And the relief for Kev. Then we all got around Kev and we was like, listen, we've got you. Didn't they score 2 tries off errors as well? I think, didn't Grixie have one?
They scored off a kick, Grixie, I don't know if you let it bounce or it come off his chest, I'm not sure. And then Jake Webster got underneath it and scored. So their 2 tries were poor tries, really, but they were kind of the tries that summed us up last season.
Yeah. I'm not just saying this on hindsight. When Wildy did score that try off Leroy's error, everyone around me was like, oh, it's gone. I was literally the only person going, there's loads of time left. Woody's killing them up the middle.
Yeah, there was about 8 minutes left, wasn't there? 6-8 minutes, something like that. Yeah.
I said there was still points in this game.
Who knows what to feel at what point and when. 1 minute we were sure we were. In fact, when Grixie scored, I'm sure someone had brought a flare into the stand and let it off like, that's it, we're going to the
Well, you ask any of my teammates. I'm the mourner. I'm the negative one. Pretty much. I'm the mourner. So when Wildy scores, I'm shaking me and I'm fuming. I'm thinking we've lost. It's gone. This we'll not get this now. But Muzza being the complete opposite of me, Mr. Positive all the time, losing in a quarter final and he's cracking jokes behind the post because that's just the way he is.
Yeah,
you kind of like think, and then Woody never speaks, and Woody's like, it's all right. So Woody's obviously feeling something that he's going to get through eventually. I was going to get an opportunity. QLT is the exact same, the most positive man ever. I'm there. No, we've lost. Gutted. And then Woody steps up, does what he does, and it was just the feeling. And then when the hooter went, all our lads who weren't playing come flying on the field, and they knew that it was. Then you know it was special, and it was just proper nice feeling, real good.
And then obviously Saints in the semi. You mentioned on video with Rick how special it was. Did you genuinely think you had a chance, or was it just a case of go out there, do your best, let the performance look after itself?
That was everything you just said. Then that was the talk going into the game. At half time, when it's only 6-2. It was Sean Robinson who said it first. We all sat down in a circle, and Sean Robinson never speaks. Stood up. Not that you could tell he stood up because he's that short, but he stood up. Robbo stood up and said, "We can beat these. We can win this game. We can actually win this game." And we were all like looking around and thinking, "They're panicking this lot. They're panicking here. We're in this." But then their fitness and strength, just told. Like, I don't think we had an opportunity to score a try. We just hung in with them. We just hung in there all game. And like, to our credit, we did that, but
I mean,
you never really.
One of the best try-saving tackles. We all talk about Pendlebury's in the cup final and all that, but Bob stopping England's number one prop forward with his
golden boot.
Yeah, we had a lot of.
What about was it Walmsley? I think he absolutely flattened.
Yeah, it was Walmsley. Yeah,
base.
There was a lot of Scott Griggs banged a couple as well.
Yeah. Tangata on McCarthy Scarsbrook.
Yeah, there was a lot of last ditch defending going on. At half time, I'm walking in, and I used to go to school with James Roby, so I'm walking in, I'm speaking to him as we're going up the steps, and he goes to me, "I didn't think you would be this tough. I genuinely didn't think you'd be this tough." And I said, "Robs, after how we've played this year, I didn't think we could be this tough. Like, we just saved everything for that day, and there weren't obviously a better stage to perform on, and obviously, I think we obviously won the hearts of everybody who was there other than Saints fans. But even they gave us a good clap. Like, you know, they were...
Yeah.
Because I went out...
Darlings of rugby league that day, weren't we? If you follow social media...
Yeah, it was great.
Tweeting out that no matter how hard you think you party, the party as hard as the facts lads will.
And to be fair, he was right. It was a good night after that. It was really good. But I actually went out in St Helens after it. So I seen the winning side of it really all night, and there's Saints fans everywhere, and like it was great. It was a great feeling, and they were like the few that obviously recognised me from the game were like really like receptive with me as well, and like buying you drinks and stuff and saying how good a team we was and how tough we was, and that actually gave me like one of the best days ever when I went to Wembley, even though we lost. I went to Wembley for the game, and it was just an unbelievable day. Apart from losing.
Well, Mike, that pretty much sums up a sterling career. Didn't we have? We put the call out on social media, didn't we, Mike?
We did.
10 minutes from the end now.
Yeah, definitely. Well, 2020 we can't really cover at the moment, really. But the one main thing that's on the horizon, I think your teammates give you a lot of stick of always mentioning it, is the all-time points record. First of all, do you always mention it?
No, never. I don't ever mention. They mention it all. Ben Kavanagh mentions it every single day. Cav's the worst. Muzzer will say it like in front of people, and it's not even funny. But Muzzer says it. Gilly goes on about it all the time. It's not something if I'm asked, I'll speak about it because I'm proud of it. But it's not something I talk about all the time. But obviously, all the lads say
not rolling into training. Another 18 off the telly, gent.
Well, I won't lie. Sometimes I do there's another 10 points knocked off, but I don't openly speak about it unless I get dragged into it. But then I do like talking about it because if I do achieve it, it'll be some feeling.
Right. I mean, who won?
Yeah. So, a few fans' questions here. First one from Nathan Farrer. Do you see yourself retiring with Halifax?
I hope so. Like I said, I've been here nearly 10 years now. Never spoken to another club about going anywhere else. I don't see that changing, but obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic, a global pandemic. Who knows what's to happen after this? I want to stay here for the rest of my career, but you can't really predict. I'm off contract at the end of this season, so I can't predict anything right now. But you know, I can categorically tell you now, I'm not looking to go anywhere. I want to finish my days here.
Pete Mack, being at Anamara, said, "Did you ever envisage staying in Halifax for so long when you first started?"
No, because when I first started, even though I was travelling up with some good lads, Penky, Lee Patterson, Craig Ashall, lads like that, Fieldhouse, I enjoyed travelling, but I didn't enjoy it enough to think I want to be doing this for 10 years. But then we win the cup, like it's a good season, and I start like thinking, you know what, it's all right here, I like it here. And then ever since then, really, I've never really looked back.
Well,
I said you'd be best moving over, Halifax. It's got better internet than we reckon at your place. Bit choppy, lad.
Kids are on Fortnite.
Oh, nightmare.
Oh, there we go. Daz Eccleston said, "Best winger you've played alongside at Fax?"
Best, I don't know about best, because obviously I've played with Wayne Retter, Rob Warranty, Will Sharp, Tommy Saxton. I've played with loads. James Saltonstall, who you know my feelings with Salty. He's an idiot, but he's an unbelievable player. But I think the most enjoyable one I play with is Sean Robinson.
Right, yeah.
I'm not saying he's the best. I'm not saying somebody else is the best or anything, but enjoyed playing with the most is definitely Robin.
Yeah.
He's another opposite to me. So if I'm moaning, he's telling me to stop moaning. He's always positive. If all the tries are getting scored on the other side of the field, I'm gutted. I'm like, we need some ball here. I want to score. Robbo's not bothered. Robbo's happy that everybody else is scoring, whereas I want to score. He's happy for other people to score as long as he's doing his job elsewhere, and that's kind of rubbed off on me over the last couple of years. So I'd say he's just my favourite to play with, and I travel with him as well.
Yeah. Since we're running out of time, I've got some quick fire ones as well. So hopefully this will be quick fire. Best player played with and against?
What, in my career?
Yeah.
I'd say the best player would be Paul Sculthorpe. And positionally, I'd always go, when I've played against them, I'd say Keith Senior.
Mm. Yeah,
He brought me nose. He was the first person to break my nose.
Left his mark on you then. Rugby League idol growing up. I know you mentioned Bobby Goulding before.
Yeah, Bobby Goulding was one of them, but my all-time favourite player was Tommy Martin.
Oh, what a player.
Yeah, classic player.
Oh, one of the best guys ever.
I think you mentioned this before. Team you love to beat?
Bradford.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Fev.
yeah, I do. Yeah, but I think the rivalry with Featherstone's kind of withered off a little bit. They're still rivals, still big team and a good team, but there's nothing that gets you going like beating Bradford.
Fair news. Hardest tackle ever received?
I was playing for Widnes against Lee, and it was Mick Governor. It was when shoulder charges were still allowed, and I jumped out of dummy half, and as I look up, Mick Govins just jumped into my head with his shoulder. It'd have been sent off now, but back then it was all right. He hit me in the shoulder, and I got up, but I faced the wrong way and played the ball towards him, and then just collapsed. I just hit the deck, and I was gone, absolutely gone. And I've never felt a tackle like that again.
Yeah. And last but not least, career highlights.
Oh,
Making
my debut at Saints has got to be my highlight, but because obviously I've been at Halifax for so long, I think my Halifax highlight has got to be probably the try against Featherstone.
Northern Rail Cup final, yeah.
Good
choice.
Yeah,
very
probably
good choice.
Just nicks it. Being captain as well, that was always a good moment.
Fair dues. And that's all she wrote. That is time up on another episode of Talking Facts of Life, sponsored by Eclipse Energy. Steve and Tyrer, David, thank you very, very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Stay safe. It's all right. Stay safe.
You too.
Hopefully we see you in a blue and white shirt not so long. And
Hopefully.
enjoy the league and up the facts.